how much internet is going to affect our lives, how deeply it's going to be embedded into our lives, and how every facet of our life is going to be dictated by it. We already decide what to eat from an internet enabled app. We already decide whom to date with an internet enabled app. And without realizing, 10 years ago, these things, if somebody would have told you, they would have said, this is a Black Mirror episode. Black Mirror didn't exist 10 years ago also. So internet is everywhere. And with that brings great opportunity. And the purpose of this whole talk, if the only thing I can do today is to just impart to you how big this opportunity is, and because this opportunity is so big, you should participate. So welcome to this short presentation on building micro businesses on the internet. Cool. I'm going to share my whole screen. All right. So there's a short introduction about me, so I'll just skip that part. I write a weekly blog, which really helps me put out my thoughts, and some of that blog makes it onto Twitter. That This is important. I'll just get to this point. But because of creating content, or rather, blogging or journaling my journey through trying to build businesses, success, failure, everything. As a result, I think my screen share stopped. Is it fine now?
Yeah, it's fine. Sorry for that.
Yeah. So as a result of blogging and sharing my journey, this is how the direct result of that is I'm here right now. Had I not started blogging, had I not started tweeting like a year and a half ago, I don't think I would have been speaking in front of you right now. So this is just a very like real life example of what the internet can enable if you participate. And I'll keep explaining this further as we talk so that you really understand what I mean here. So one of the things in my life is that if I figure out how something works, if I can now codify it, if I can now help others figure out the same thing, then the world will become a better place. So, for example, if more people figure out how to build a successful business, then more people will be happy. If more people have money, then money distribution is better. Like instead of one company owning $1 billion, 1,000 people could be, or 10,000 people could be millionaires or 10 millionaires. And this way, wealth distribution will make the world better, everybody's lives better, which is why I wrote a blog called Mission 1000. This seminar is a part of that. If at least one of you becomes an entrepreneur because of this, that makes this whole thing worth it. So if you do, then definitely message me and tell me about what you started and what happened. Okay, cool. Uh, Building businesses on the internet, like building businesses, participating in the global landscape. Why should you care? When I was in between first to fourth year, all I knew about was classes, semesters, semester exams, uh, shit that we did in between that, and obviously going to DT. DT was Manipal's hangout. I don't know what that is for you, but you're in Goa, so I guess it's better there. That's all we used to think about. And again, I didn't have anybody who said, hey, there's this whole universe of opportunities on the internet. It's just one layer away from you. It's actually on your phone. It's an extension of your hand. And this great internet opportunity is that there are close to 5 billion people connected to the internet right now, today, which means you as an individual, I as an individual, or any of us right here can sit at home, like I'm sitting right now in my room, and connect to potentially 5 billion people. This opportunity never existed in human history. This is the first time it's happening, and it's happening at an unprecedented scale. And that's the internet opportunity. It's bigger than we thought, because 10, 15 years ago, you're like, there were 10 million people using the internet every day, or maybe 100 million people using the internet every day. So which means if you wanted to build something great, you needed to capture 50% of the market or 20% of the market. Today, you can be a $1 billion company, just an example, or you can have a crazy high following. Like you could be like Tanmay Bhatt level, or anybody else equivalent of him or her level stardom, by just reaching maybe 0.001% or 0.0001% of people on the internet. That's all it takes. The bar to reach that level of success, or reach or fame, anything, has reduced because of the internet opportunity. And the second thing is, earlier the tools to participate, so there was internet, and internet could be accessed through dial up, but there was no way to connect with everyone else. So you didn't have a network like Facebook, which was one of the early ones that connected people. then Instagram. Twitter is one parallel network. Snapchat is a network. WhatsApp is a network. These are all tools and platforms that let two or more people connect with each other, which is how ideas spread. This was not possible before, and because now it's possible, suppose one of you does something cool. Suppose you build maybe you just build a cool side project in your dorm room over the weekend, and your friend comes and checks in your room, and he or she finds it like, whoa, this is so cool. He or she shares it on the internet, and 1,000 people get to know that you built something cool in your dorm room. Not possible 15 years ago, not wasn't even prevalent 10 years ago, became kind of a common thing 5 years ago, and now it happens every day on a platform like TikTok. So when I say internet opportunity, that's what we're looking at. That's how big this is, and that's why you should look up and like observe it, like acknowledge that this is happening, and only then we can start taking advantage of it. So yeah, there's a huge opportunity, and in that opportunity, uh, it's starting is very difficult. Like, how do you start? How I say that there's a big opportunity. What should I do about it? Uh, I believe everybody should start small, and the reason being, you want to make it very easy for you to start doing something new. Like when you create a new habit, you don't hit the gym and push 30 kgs on the first day and do 8 sets of 20 reps each. On the first day, you'll do like no weights and just push ups. You start small. And in similar way, like if you're going to start an internet initiative, maybe you want to get active on Twitter, maybe you want to grow a following on YouTube, maybe you're passionate about music and you want to perform music, maybe write your own songs and then grow a following on YouTube, whatever it is, you start small and you maybe put out one video a day or one video a week, or maybe one tweet a day, or maybe start writing one line of code a day, or maybe one line or one page of the book you want to write. It could be a fantasy novel, it could be something deeply technical like how to decode AWS, anything. It could be anything. Start small and try something and see what happens so that more people can get started. All of you should try something tiny that you've been thinking about and just see what happens. Because the truth is, in the media, we read always about the unicorns, which is the exceptions. So unicorn is so rare. It's again like if there are a million startups in the world, or maybe not a million, maybe 100,000 startups getting founded in every corner of the world every year, there are probably 100 of them that become unicorns. So just look at the probability there and see unicorns are an exception. But you can become a unicorn by starting small and figuring things out, taking step by step. So this is a whole mindset. I'm just trying to tell you in an overall level before we again keep diving in. So there's a huge internet opportunity. You can start participating in it, and you can start small. You can start easy. Do something that you can do today, or you can do in an hour, or in a very little effort. Just start. And who can do it? Like, why should you care? You're probably in your first or second or third year of college. Uh, why should you participate, or should you participate? Uh, Another beautiful thing about the internet or building businesses or building followerships on the internet is nobody asks you which college you're from, or how many GPA points do you have, or did you get a certificate. Nobody cares. All people care about on the internet, or rather in the real world, is that how valuable are you? Are you making my life better? Are you maybe entertaining me? Are you maybe educating me? Are you maybe building an app that is making my life better, making my life easier? Nobody asks you for a degree. That means you don't have to seek permission to add value to people's life. And this was not there before. Like in certain fields which are regulated, like in medical, you can't perform a kind of surgery before you have that certificate or that advanced degree. It's very permission driven. Whereas the internet is permissionless. You can be anyone and nobody cares, as long as you're someone valuable and someone who's providing value to others. So anybody can do this. You can do this. If you're thinking, no, I can't do this, or maybe I don't know enough, you can do it. But you have to start small and you have to start. Okay, so how do you participate on the internet? How do you end up building a business like I did? Or many people are selling ebooks. Many people are selling online courses. Like yesterday, I was looking at a post on Indie Hackers, which is a forum for people who want to get on this journey, who want to build small businesses, figure things out on the internet. that this guy, he has been making coding videos, like teaching others how to code in HTML, CSS, JavaScript for around 3 or 4 years, I think, of several years. And he launched a course last month, just the pre-orders, not the course. And he clocked in $500,000 of pre-order revenue. That's $500,000 in a month. It's my head blew basically. Uh, so what happened here? Like, what did this guy do? So the thing is, to participate on the internet, you don't have to go all in. You can just start doing something small on the side. So suppose you're someone who's like, I want to take a whole year off after college and just try things out. You can do that. If you're okay with that risk, take a year, build projects, whatever it is. Create a YouTube channel, create a Twitter account, write a book, maybe create an app if you're proficient in coding or if that's what you love. Design applications, design icons, design fonts, design anything, create anything. Or if you don't want that roller coaster, you don't want to go all in, it's fine. Like this guy, he kept working on his followership for 3 4 years and then went all in when he had enough followership. So you can take a job right after college and then have a side project which you do for like maybe 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day, and maybe 4 or 8 hours in every weekend, and something good can turn out of that also. So you can start in whichever way you feel comfortable, but pick one and be okay with whatever will happen. If it's a roller coaster, which is what I took every time I tried, I just quit my job like recklessly almost. I would take a job, I would save up money for a year, quit my job, and then roller coaster, start a project, try to do it, failed most of the times, ran out of money, took a job again. That's how after two hops, I ended up at An Academy, and then again tried the whole thing. This time something worked. So if that's not for you, do projects while you're at your job. It's totally fine. A lot of people will say you have to do things in a certain way if you want to be an entrepreneur or if you want to be a creator or something. There's no hard and fast rule. There is no black or white. It's all gray. So pick your path. Uh, and okay, cool. So far I've talked about the internet opportunity. I've talked about that you can do things on the internet. You can reach people. You can who can do it? Anyone can do it. You can start small. You can do it while you have a job. But then what do you need to be able to start? So what's happening on the internet at any point? What did we do at Superlemon, that business that worked out for us? We basically wrote lines of code, and that code served a purpose. Just 2 months ago, less than 2 months ago, I created an online course, and that made around $10,000. And that was just a course about learning how about SEO. Now, I didn't write a piece of code there. I just created something in terms of content, or rather, I put out words on Twitter. It's content. So you actually have a very low bar. If you know how to code, write code. If you know how to write. If you know how to record videos. But there's only two things you can do on the internet. If you really think about it, that's the most of the kind of businesses outside of service. That's what they are. You either create some form of content that either educates people or maybe entertains them, or you create code, write code, which solves someone's problem, makes their headache easier, makes automation of their life easier. So if you are someone in computer science and if coding is what you love, you just need, that's all, that's a skill you need. If you're someone who's not learned how to code, but you have a creative side where you can create content of any kind, then that's the skill. You already have the skill you need to participate. There's nothing that can stop you from trying this. All right. Talked a lot about the build up to this, but now let's come to, suppose you are building something now that you have your skill, you can create content or you can create code, you want to create on the internet, you can do it while you're at your job, you're doing it in the weekends. What should you create? So if you think about it, no matter what you do, if there is an exchange of money, suppose you are creating some content and people are paying you, like for my course, it's basically a business. Or if I am writing code like the Superlemon app and people are paying me, it's a business. So whenever there's an exchange of value in terms of money, it's a business. And if that's what you end up doing, then you just need to know these three things, or rather the third one just happens. But you just need to know these two things if you create any kinds of business, any kind, whether you sell a book or you write a piece of code, it's all the same. So why does any business exist? It solves someone's problem. It solves a real problem in someone's life. Like maybe someone's trying to learn how to crack IIT, and there's a coaching center to help them crack. That's a business, and they do it by delivering you content on a PPT or whatever the professor uses to teach you. Or yeah, so you solve a real problem, and then you deliver that solution to the people who have that problem. So in the coaching center's case, they have a a large physical center. Nowadays you can do it on an app, and that app reaches you, or you go to the center, and that's the solution. The solution, the coaching center service has reached people, and now you pay for it. So the business profits. So yeah, you solve a real problem, you deliver that problem ka solution to people, and then the business profits. So now, if this is true, if this is how any business works, then how should you build a business? How to build any business? You solve a real problem, because a business exists to solve problems. You find ways to reach customers, because a business works when it delivers its solution to people who have that problem. And then you keep repeating this till people keep paying you enough money, and hopefully you become rich and retire and buy an island or something, or whatever you want to do. Uh, how to build any business can be applied in any form. So I'm going to take examples here. If you want to write a book about fantasy, maybe fiction, so you are solving a problem. You're solving an entertainment problem. People want their minds tickled. They want something entertaining. Some people watch Netflix. Some people read fantasy novels or sci-fi novels. So you're solving a problem. That is the problem you're solving. And the way to reach people would be, actually, there are tons of ways to reach people. If you're writing a fantasy novel today, you can write snippets of it on Reddit. If you haven't checked out Reddit, check it out right now. Reddit. uh, and you can have like people following your content before you have even written a whole chapter. You can just put the concept of your story, and you could have like 1000 people waiting to read your whole story. So you're solving a real problem, and you found ways to reach people. You build up that story, and finally you sell it as a book on Amazon, and those 1,000 people or whatever 10,000 people buy it, profit, repeat. Now you're an author. Another example would be uh, creating a course. Maybe you're a programmer. Maybe you know how to do. Maybe you have advanced skills in pottery. Screw that. You know how to make arrows uh, that are really like high quality, that an archer can use who wants to do bow and arrow practice. There are enough people in the world who do that for you to be able to create a business if you know who they are and if you know how to find them. And so any problem can be solved. It can be any dimension. I did not know until I started researching for Superlemon that there is a category of software called church website builder software. And there's also software for morgues, by the way. So I didn't research into that one, but the church website builder was very interesting. Churches have become digital, and because they've become digital, because people are digital, they need to reach new followers online. And if you want to reach them online, you need a social media profile. You need a website where people can sign up for that church and come on Sundays or whenever there's events, etc., and keep them informed, like send them emails. uh, Turns out some people have built businesses like an email marketing solution or a website builder solution just for people who do that, just for people who run and manage churches. You can build any kind of business on the internet, like seriously, any kind of business. A friend of mine runs this business called ZenMade, and it's really cool because outside of India, I mean, in Western countries uh, where domestic help is very expensive as compared to in developing countries like ours, uh, people don't always pay for maid services, and they do it themselves. But the households that do have significant surplus cash, so maid business or cleaning of households and cleaning of your lawns or whatever else in the house or car is a real business. And what this guy figured out is these people are managed, like each such maid cleaning business is managed by one or two people, and these people take all the bookings, they manage who goes to which house, collect the payment, etc., and give out the payments to the commissions to the maids who work for them. They need a software to manage all of this, accept the service bookings, have a calendar where they can see, okay, today two of my staff is going to this house, two of them are going here, these are the unpaid bills. And he made a business out of it. He makes $1 million a year from this software business of helping maid services run. uh, it's infinite. The number of opportunities of building internet businesses is infinite. Just start so you can figure out what can be done. Yeah. Oh, I ended up talking about this. So sell knowledge or entertainment or both, if you can. If you can be entertaining while you teach people, nothing like it. You're gonna You're going to be Neil deGrasse Tyson, basically, who, just like all other scientists in his domain, are equally smart as him, but he decided to sell his knowledge by being entertaining on the internet. That's why we know Neil deGrasse Tyson. Name 5 more people like him in his field. Okay, one of you might be able to do it, so I'm not challenging you or anything, but you get the point. If you're not participating on the internet, people are not going to find out about you. If tomorrow he launches a course, I'm going to subscribe. I don't care what, as long as he teaches me something about the cosmos, I'm signed up for it. Uh, I already talked about building products. The third thing, and this is something that's just happening. It's like it's something very new. It was happening offline before, like people would physically meet up, but now you can virtually meet up with people who are like-minded. You are no longer limited by geography. Like think about it, 20 years ago. Let's just take 20 years ago. People who are interested in board games want to meet other people who are interested in board games. How far are you going to travel every day or every week to meet other people who are interested in board games? You're going to go maybe once a week max. You're going to travel maybe 15 kilometers max, like if you're really passionate about that game. Today, you can create an online community of people who love board games of any kind. I am one of those people who play board games online with a group of friends. And you can have this community of like minded people, and all of us are in different cities. In fact, some of them were in Italy while we were playing this board game. So you can create communities, and turns out managing and creating and managing communities itself is a business. So there's this girl I follow on Twitter whose name is Annie Laurie. She runs a community called, was it MakerMind or uh, I think it was MakerMind. I'm forgetting the exact name. Should just look her up. So she runs a community of people who are interested in understanding how to live better life, how to understand their own mind and how the mind works, and how cognitive biases work, and how they could become better thinkers, uh, think more effectively, apply their minds more effectively without like all the stress of modern life. And she created a community around it, and she charges people. She makes like $10,000-$20,000 a month, obviously, and people are happy to pay because they meet like-minded people who are all interested in the same kind of topic. You can create a business out of anything today, and it used to be just knowledge and products, but now you can create communities if you have enough people like that on the internet who you know. Okay, given tons of examples by now, and if things are not clear, we're going to open it up for Q&A. So I would love to hear any questions. But if you were to start today, like you've heard all this, okay, Preetam, you've said blah 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 XYZ. I'm either inspired or intimidated or both. Like I don't know. I wouldn't know if like if I was hearing all this for the first time, what would I do? So I would say start small. That's my mantra for everything in life. Start small, take a tiny baby step. The first thing you can do is join a community of people who are talking just like I did today, who are resonating the same mindset, who are online, participating, trying to solve problems, trying to be valuable, trying to share their thoughts, document it, connect with other people, be valuable, be nice. Uh, you can do that by joining a community. So you can join indie hackers, look up indie hackers on Google, the first result, or MakerLog, which is a similar kind of community. MakerLog is actually run by an 18-year-old guy from Puerto Rico, Sergio. I don't know if he's 18. He might be younger than 18, and he's been running the community for 2 years. Inspiring. Like I was basically, I had no brain when I was 18 or even 16. And this guy is here running a community of 2,000 people or something, and he's interviewing them every other week. So go sign up there and find out the vibe, find out what's happening, find out what other people who are similar to me or around the same wavelength are doing or talking, and you'll get to know a little bit every day, a little bit more every day of what's happening in this whole scene of building businesses on the internet. Participate on the internet. So pick your social media of choice. We are all on some social media. If you hate social media, I understand. I hated it for a long time, but pick one that you hate the least. I hate Twitter the least, therefore I'm on Twitter. And participate. By participating, I mean pick any interest that you're passionate about. Anything, it can be whatever. It can be something obscure. It doesn't matter. Participate with other people who have the same interest. Either comment on their posts, get to know them, write tweets or write posts or write blog posts, and try to find out what the other people who are like you on the internet are doing. Just be a part of it and just see what happens. You don't need to derive anything out of it. You just need to participate on the internet and see what's going to happen when you do participate. And the third thing is, once you have joined this community, understood the vibe, understood what we are trying to do here, what this movement is all about on the internet, as more people are taking part in it, uh, as you participate, as you learn what's happening on the internet with communities that you care about, the third thing you should do is, when you feel confident, you don't need to do it right away, is build the smallest thing you can. Just build anything. Uh, for example, it could be as small as a spreadsheet which lists jobs for social media interns in e-commerce. It could be anything. Like, when you participate, when you go to these communities, you're going to find out things that people are asking for. People who match your wavelength are saying, oh, this is a problem, or, do you know an answer to this? How do I solve this? Just solve one of those. It could even be just a blog post. It could be just a series of videos on YouTube saying, here's how you can do X. Build the smallest thing uh, possible and see what happens, and keep repeating this. And pretty soon you'll be giving this talk like 5 years later to people, explaining to them the same thing, that, hey, you should do this, participate, make something, figure out where the other people are. Yeah. Okay. Uh, I have blabbed enough. I usually don't like blabbing. I would love to hear any questions, or all your questions now. Anything. How do I
Hey
proceed here?
Preetam, this is
Should I?
Harish. So the chat is filled with a couple of questions. Should I
Yeah.
filter them out and ask it?
Sure. Or we can just start from the top, like,
Yeah,
and
sure.
pick questions which are valuable to everyone else.
Perfect.
All right. Let's see. The first question is, thank you for reading my blog. The screen. Make a mind. What's the? I think it is MakerMind itself, but look for Annie Laurie, ANNE-LAURE. How to validate your idea if it's worth the time you're putting in. The most, to me, the best validation is real world behavior. So people are doing something. They're not just telling you, oh, I wish this problem were solved. They're actually solving it by, manual work, grunt work, manual labor, paying someone else for doing it, doing painful, repetitive work to get the job done. That's the most, like, best possible validation of an idea you can find. And if you're building a SaaS product, most of this validation will happen in a spreadsheet. Find out, like, just one source of business ideas. Find out if in a company, for what are all the ways in which, or all the different spreadsheets that different people in a company are making and compiling on a day-to-day basis. Like, in case of e-commerce, one thing I learned just recently, my customers talked to me yesterday and told me that they create a spreadsheet every day of all the orders that got shipped and where the issues were. And this spreadsheet basically, with the order data and the issue, then gets sent to the operations team, who then updates the status on them and then sends it back to the support team and somewhere else. And the manager says, okay, all good, and figure out the issues. Uh, if you follow this trail enough, you'll find a problem worth solving. If they're spending enough time and, like, boiling their blood trying to solve a problem, then that's an idea you should go after. Real world usage is what you're looking for. How did you get your first 10 customers? Okay. uh, Honestly, what happened with us was, I can't, like, tell people to just do that same thing and expect them to replicate it. But here's what we did. What matters is your approach. And if you do the approach correctly, if you focus on the inputs, the results kind of take care of itself if you just do it right correctly. Like, think about it. If you swing the bat correctly at the right time, the ball is going to hit a six. But if you don't do that, it's never going to hit a six. So just focus on swinging the bat correctly. How do you get your first 10 customers is, you find out where your customers are hanging out, find out how they discover, or when they face the problem that you're solving, what do they do. So an example would be, if somebody is facing a problem, like, maybe you have a blog on how to take care of muscle pain. Maybe I'm taking a random example out of nowhere. Maybe this is a gymmer, frequent gymmers who get muscle soreness and want to figure out how to solve it, and you have created a course on how to stretch your body so that you never get muscle pain. You find out from these people that the moment this happens, they type on Google how to alleviate muscle soreness. So now, where are your customers? They're on Google. What are they doing? They're typing a phrase. What should you do? Write a piece of content that when they search on Google for this, you show up. And then when you answer their question and they're like, wow, this website is amazing, or this guy or this girl really likes great content, and then they find out you have a whole course on preventing soreness in the first place, you got your first 10 customers. uh, Similar example, in a marketplace like a Shopify app store would be, people face a problem like they need a they need a logistics tracking app. They need an app which lets their customers put in their tracking ID and view the tracking information. So they go to Shopify app store and they type track your order or something like that. You find out that keyword, and then the results come up. Apps that let your customers track your order. You basically want to show up there. So you find out what your people are, what your target customers are doing. Where are they hanging out? They could be hanging out even in a Facebook group, asking asking for answers to their problems. Go join that Facebook group, become a part of it, contribute value to it. Don't sell. Just try to understand what they're facing, and uh, then you'll get your first 10 customers if you focus on the inputs. Next question: what to do when you start and fall at the very first step and you can't gain confidence again? Very important. Very. I can't say it's an easy journey. Like, very honest with all of you folks, this is a difficult journey. Um, Trying anything that is unbounded. So, okay, when you do a job, it's bounded. You have people above you, you have managers, you have constraints, you have systems, you have processes. There's a lot of things that have gone into the company building to make sure you succeed most of the time. So that's how they'll manage it. Like, that's how they'll run. But when you do an unbounded thing like a business where there's no such constraint, no such process, no such manager, actually, there's just you, the value you create, and your customers. Uh, so, what to do when like you're gonna fail? You're gonna fail again and again. And what you want to do is you want to decouple, and this is a very difficult thing. Requires a lot of self awareness and practice. And I failed many years until I figured out how to like do it better. So don't be hard on yourself. It's fine, but you want to decouple your internal worth, what you are worth in your own eyes, to your immediate successes. So what how you do that is by saying that, okay, I tried something, it's an experiment. I'm going to try this, and if my idea is right, if my thought is right, then it's going to work. Then it doesn't work, it fails. It fails, you didn't fail. So now you've decoupled what you're trying, that an experiment, from yourself and your own self-worth. And now, instead of feeling bad or terrible about the failure, the next thing you want to do is, why did it fail? What happened? Like, let that curiosity guide you as to, where did I go wrong? Did I assume the wrong thing? Did I try to sell the wrong thing? Did the customer do it wrong? Whatever it is, you want to follow that, those breadcrumbs, instead of crying that there are breadcrumbs, because that is the only path. Like, fail. I can fail in my current business. I'm building Delight Chat. I have full, like, I could, any day somebody says, oh, it's going to work out great, I'm like, yeah, and it can also fail. At no point will I ever think that I'm just, whatever I do is going to work out. Never happens. That's thing you never want to fall into, like that kind of a trap. So try to decouple your self-worth with what you're doing and treat everything you do as an experiment. Try to learn from it. Try to form your form strong thoughts about it. Try to validate your assumptions, and when it fails, try to learn why it failed, because that's more useful use better use of your energy than feeling sad about it failed. There's no point in that. It just stops you right there. What I'm saying is hard. I'm just saying it and it feels like it should be easy and everybody should do it. It's fine if you can't, but try to remember this thought. Try to remind yourself that I'm not my successes or failures. I'm how hard I work at and how well I attempt at getting better. Am I following the breadcrumbs, or am I just crying that there are breadcrumbs? Uh, what hard skills would you recommend us to learn keeping automation in mind? It's a very difficult question. Automation until now was doing very repetitive manual labor until GPT-3 came in. Just yesterday, a company called Copy.ai raised $2.9 million. And what it's trying to do is it's trying to help people write or generate blog posts. So that's a whole class of jobs gone. It's trying to help them write ad Facebook ad headlines. I can totally see that, like, going everywhere, and you're probably already clicking on Instagram ads that are generated with an AI tool, some sort of an AI tool. What you want to do is you want to keep focusing on skills that uh, push the creative boundary. So if something can be done in a repetitive manner, eventually automation is going to pick up. Take a call on how soon this automation is going to work on that. But if it's something happening on a spreadsheet in a repetitive manner, something is going to pick it up. If it's like, uh, turns out with GPT-3, if it's sentence generation, it's starting to get picked up. But GPT-3 is not going to be able to do long form original reporting. You'll still have to be a journalist who goes on the field and picks up all the data, gathers all the insights, and writes that original long form reporting, whether it's an unbiased one or one that is supposed to incite emotion. That kind of thing, AI is very far away from doing that. AI can do a lot of the 80% things, but those 20% they're really bad at. And if they do that, then the whole world and paradigm has changed. Even I'll be irrelevant at that point. So I don't know what will happen at that point, but you want to keep focusing on creative energy, no matter what you do. So even if it's, no matter what job you do, actually, even if you are just an engineer, don't just write code, try to create beautiful systems that make coding better, make it better for everyone, contribute to open source. That's something an automation bot will not be able to do tomorrow. It's not going to start contributing open source code to solve problems that are being faced inside a company. Only you can do it, a human mind can do it, a creative mind that can connect the dots can do this. So focus on creative energy, no matter where you're applying it. How to find a niche? Difficult. I found a niche after a long time, and I didn't know what was the answer. Initially, okay, there's two ways to find a niche. But before that, the first thing you want to do, or main thing you want to do, is you want to cast a wide net. Like, think of whatever you're doing in whichever field, whether it's a, let's take a business app, like a SaaS app or something. There's an ocean, and you want to cast a wide net in the ocean, as wide as possible, and try to look for signals. So an example of that would be, I would look at all the industries that are getting traction in the last 24 or 12 months since COVID began. So that's a way to like look at what's happening in the world. Just a snapshot, obviously. Like 12 months is a very short period of time, but it's also a long time nowadays. Uh, so look at those last 12 months and see what's happening. What are the problems that became very important? What are the problems that are being solved? And you'll start feeling like getting a feel of signals. So collaboration between people became very important. Being able to do digital workshops like this, we're doing this on Zoom, became very important. What else became important? Like, turns out people are doing guitar classes over a Zoom like software, but somebody has built a specialized software for these people who are doing guitar classes to charge them money or to give them like notes or something, etc., like that. So how you want to start is you want to cast a wide net and just look at all the problems that are happening and just gravitate towards, be aware of the other problems, don't zero in too early. Gravitate towards the problems that you resonate with, which you find fascinating, where you see a lot of action happening, where you can directly talk to the people who are being involved in it. Like maybe a guitar person, a person who teaches guitar on the internet. Just if that's what you gravitate towards, find 10 more people and talk to them. Hey, how's it going? What's your business like? And what's really difficult in your business? So now there are two ways to find a niche. One is you go problem specific, or two is you go industry specific. So problem specific would be uh, collaboration is a problem specific way to find a niche. So Slack is a collaboration app, but Slack can be used by any company in the world, whether it's an e-commerce company, whether it's a music academy with like 50 people in that company. It can be used by almost any kind of company. So you're kind of uh, horizontal that way. You're focusing on a problem statement which cuts across horizontals. The other ways you can be vertical specific, which is industry specific. So you can say that I'm only going to focus on problems that e-commerce merchants face in my case. Or maybe you can say, I'm only going to focus on all the people in the world who are trying to teach guitar online or music classes online and earn a living out of it. So you're going like very vertical specific and at that point. And so now at the intersection, something interesting could happen. But again, that's a separate thing. Like, what is collaboration in e-commerce, or what is collaboration for a music academy? Intersection could happen, but that's a very separate thing. You want to now keep narrowing down in this direction. So pick collaboration, if or work productive. That's the approach you want to take. Keep narrowing down. Try to find something small. Every time you talk to people, try to find something unique that's happening. See if that behavior is happening more. So in e-commerce, the way to do that for me in the industry was to separate out all the kinds of problems that an e-commerce merchant is facing. So it could be they're facing problems with logistics and shipping. One of their biggest problems, basically, logistics and shipping. It's operations-driven business. Then they face issues with customer support. Therefore, we're building the light chat. They're facing issues with marketing automation. They're facing issues with hiring people. There's a wealth of issues that this industry is facing. You want to then zero down on where you can do a good job, where you have a little bit of insight. Maybe you have an idea that's better than others. Maybe you have talked to people and they've told you something others don't know about. You can do that. Or you can do the same thing on the work collaboration side, a problem statement specific, which is, okay, work collaboration is done in many ways, but turns out people who work in construction need to be able to collaborate from their mobile. They don't sit in front of a computer while on the field, which means all the things that they do, like recording data or communicating with other team members about the updated data, etc., has to happen through that mobile interface. So now you can end up building a collaboration tool for the construction industry. There's actually, I think, a $1 billion company that did that. I'm not sure if it was exactly collaboration or slightly more advanced software that allowed them to map out floor plans. There's a female founder who sold her company for $1 billion, not recalling the name. So she picked that problem statement. She went along the problem statement to find, oh, here's something interesting where I can zoom in on. And this process will take time. It takes years. So if you don't want to go through this whole thing, of discovering the problems, become a consultant in an industry that you are okay with living for the next 10 years in or 5 years in. You have to say no to 99 other industries, but pick one. And once you pick it, just become a consultant in it, work on like a service level and find out all the problems that a business is facing. Pick one that you think is really good to solve. That's the way to find a niche. It'll take you years. Took me several years. I'm not a techie, but I have a startup idea which requires technical skills. Your take. If you're not a techie, then you're only okay. You have only two kinds of skills in a company: tech skill, which is writing the code to build a SaaS product or a product, a software product, or the people skill, which is figuring out who is going to use this product, how do I reach them through marketing, and how do I assemble the people or the team or the investors, whatever approach you take, to execute on this idea and actually make it real. So if you're not a techie, then you're the people person. And if you're the people person, then one of your first jobs is to recruit someone who's a techie and convince them that, hey, you are a great person to work with because you're valuable. You know how to find customers, you know how to find problems, you know how to do marketing, or you know how to do product or design or something that makes you valuable. That something with a That's so that a person with technical skills wants to partner with you. Because the person with technical skills is like also thinking, I need someone who complements my skill set. I know how to build. What should I build? Where should I focus my energy on? And they're looking for someone who has that answer. So if you are not the techie, then you better be the people person. Otherwise, what is the value you bring to the table except the idea itself? Yes, she runs a blog called Nest Labs. That's her company name. Or a techie. I've seen this. How important is founder market fit? This one has been employed for a while. You don't need to be employed to find problems. There are enough people who just directly started. You could be, I mean, it does help. Suppose you want to do something in a certain industry, you can join a company in that industry and just learn about it for a while, or you can start talking to customers directly. Nothing kind of prepares you to launch a business as launching a business itself. About founder market fit, let me give you an example. I hate doing outbound sales. I hate like doing that 100 sales and then 20 of them will say yes, and then 4 of them will finally like sign up for the tool and 2 of them will pay all. I think I find it's not something I'm happy doing. But some people are great at it. They excel. For them, sales like just gives them the fuel. So now, if you're building a company where the GTM or the way you acquire customers, where the way you take your product to the market requires sales, like extensive sales, like 6-month long sales period. Uh, and if you're someone who has that DNA, who loves or thrives in sales, that's founder market fit. But if you're not, then you're going to feel miserable every day. So it is important that you don't hate what you do every day. Otherwise, you're just going to give up too early. And I think most startups just succeed because you have to have the right idea and market. But most startups after that succeed because they stuck to it for long enough to figure it out. Don't stick to ideas that have no demand. If people are not asking for it, then there's no demand. Is it possible to build and monetize the idea without a big following on social media, Twitter? Of course, yes. The question is, if it's not on social media, and like You don't need to be big on social media to build a business. You need to be, your customers need to be aware of you where it matters. So where is it that your customers will find you? Is it, are they going to type searches on Google and find you? Then you better have an SEO optimized blog or a blog that is ranking for those keywords. Are people going to find you at physical events? Then you better have a booth there or you show up there. So find out where people are going to be for the idea that you are creating, the idea that you want to build, and be there. Social media, whatever, like it doesn't matter. Just replace social media with place where your customers are. That's where you want to be. Suggestions on communities are entrepreneur is nice. Filter out the top ones if you want inspirational and sob stories. Filter out newest if you want real raw ideas of problems that people are facing. So I really like the newest posts to see like what people are actually posting. Manish Chan, how to start looking for the small thing, like going around and finding that market or something, asking people. Uh, Not sure what you meant. Do you mean how you start? Uh, it is what I answered earlier about the first 10 customers, which is find where they are and then go talk to each of them. Like try to politely reach out to them and say, I need to talk to you about this problem that I'm looking to solve. If you face this problem, I would like be grateful for 20 minutes of your time, and I'll be respectful. Here are the things I want to ask you. And if the problem is real to you, they're going to give you time. Like if the problem is not real, they're going to basically not give you time. Whenever I want to start something, there are many competitors already. So should I start working on an idea or should I leave? Here's the thing. If you have many competitors, that's a good thing. Like here's something that it took me a while to like wrap my head around it. Okay, you're on a street. If you have been to Bangalore, you're on a street with restaurants. Do you build another restaurant there? The answer is actually yes. The reason being, a lot of people are going there for food. Not everybody is going to eat the same food, and not one restaurant cannot serve all the people wanting to eat food. So what do? You build a restaurant there that serves a certain kind of food that people want. You have competitors, but the reason you thrive is because competitors were there. The demand is already there. So I would say look at competitors as a way to validate that the problem you're identified is real. That's a great thing. But the next thing now, the next most important thing is, what are you going to do differently that people will value? Like maybe the people who are using your competitor products are not happy with XYZ dimensions of the product. Maybe it's cost, maybe it's features, maybe it's ease of use. These are like universal dimensions. They always can be improved. These three things. Maybe a certain segment of users are unhappy with it. Like maybe a certain industry, maybe a certain kind of persona. Like maybe freelancers use a certain kind of tool, and it doesn't work for them, but it works for like the people in the professional industry. You can find that small subset of people and then build your product around them, serving them better. And that's how you make segue into an industry that already has competitors. You do something slightly different. If it's not going to be a different audience, like slightly a subset of audience, it's going to be better marketing. Maybe your competitors are getting content, getting customers through SEO and Google, but you find out that your customers also hang out on Twitter, and you know how to do Twitter marketing, or you're willing to find out how to do Twitter marketing. Then do Twitter marketing and acquire those customers. That's fair game. The good part is you already know the problem is real. Any advices for content creators in moving to cohort-based teaching models in the future? Create content, and you will eventually create a cohort-based teaching model in the future. If you're not already creating content, then the question is irrelevant. You want to start creating content, and you want to create content till the time when you have enough people following you. So it works like this. It works like a spring. When you keep giving value, the spring, there's more weight on the spring. Keep giving value for maybe 1 month, a little bit, you push the spring a little bit. Give value for 1 year, you push it quite a bit. And then when you tell them, hey, I have something to teach you, you already know I'm good at this because I've been giving you free content that's valuable for it for a year now. Release your hand from the spring. What's up? That's how that guy got $500,000 in 1 month of pre-orders for his course. He taught people how to code for 3-4 years with really great videos. And then the first time he asked people for money, they were like happy to give it. So cohort-based teaching model is just a medium of teaching. If the form of teaching that you do is, and there's cohort-based teaching is a shiny object syndrome. This thing existed forever. When you're in a classroom, it's a cohort-based teaching model. It's a 1 year based cohort teaching model. Okay, so it's not a new thing. So don't focus on the word. Instead, focus on does the thing that you teach uh, need like a batch wise one-on-one interaction where they say 30 people are going through the same experience? They have a fixed timeline to go through the experience, like maybe a 3 month fast track MBA or whatever they're doing nowadays online. They need 3 months to get that executive MBA, and everybody is going to start in the starting line, roughly in the starting line. Everybody's going to progress and they're going to help each other, and you will need to be able to reach out to them and help them. If this is the model under which it operates, like an MBA is basically cohort based teaching, right? Of 2 years or 1 year if you're an ISB. So if that is the model, then it's a cohort based teaching model. Like, cohort based teaching model is not the future. It was already here. The word is new. Can you please explain how you got your idea and how you understood Shopify works? I've written this in my blog. I spent 2 months, yeah, roughly 2 months, looking at every category, subcategory app in the Shopify app store till I understood all the different kind of problems. I wrote them down on a piece of paper, like on a notebook. I talked to people who are already building Shopify apps. I talked to a few merchants who are building Shopify apps to understand, sorry, who are building Shopify brands on Shopify to understand what are the things that they do, what are the apps that they use. And that 2 months of intense research got me a good idea of what is happening overall. Like, I could at least like overall paint a picture of what's happening. And you want to do the same thing no matter which industry you pick. How's the business model of Shopify different from Amazon? You should look this up online, but Shopify is letting individual brands sell, whereas Amazon, you buy from Amazon, but the seller can be a brand. So, subtlety in the word, but you should look at this up online. Personal brand important for most of the rich people, and the people who are valuable in the world are not known. We don't know about them. They're just like, you know, fishing in their lake, living in their life right now, and that's perfectly fine. You don't need to build a personal brand. And I kind of dislike the word building a personal brand. A lot of people told me you're building a brand. I think I'm just doing what I would have done anyway if nobody would have come up with this word called personal brand. I'm basically learning something, and then I'm trying to distill it and share it. And if somebody else is going to say, hey, I tried this and this really helped, you should try it. Success. And if somebody else read what I tried and learned that, okay, I tried this and it didn't work and you should try this instead, and it helped them, success. Now, turns out if you do this, you build something called a personal brand. So don't focus on personal brand, focus on being valuable. And then people will, come to you because everybody wants to be around valuable people. Nobody will say, oh, you're really helpful, I hate you. Nobody says that. Everybody wants to be around valuable people. So be valuable. Apart from indie hackers, what communities or blogs would you recommend? I would say just go to indie hackers. Everybody posts their blogs or community links there. Solopreneur versus entrepreneur. You can do either. It's the same thing. Solo simply means one person. You can do a one person business. That's fine. It's hard. I didn't have the guts to do it by myself. And thankfully, I had someone, Sankalp, my co-founder, who I built Superlemon with, who I knew from 4 years before that. Uh, and I knew that this journey is going to be hard, so I knew that we should have someone who's doing this with us. Quick note on that, by the way: uh, don't look for a co-founder. Co-founders are people you work with and whose work ethic you understand already, who you know takes their work seriously. The pitfall of starting up with a friend is that you don't know how they behave professionally, and that's how, if they're not professionally or as serious about it as you are, your friendship is going to be broken and your business is definitely going to fail. How to build a basic MVP to test the product? Kind of complicated right now. The whole idea of an MVP is to break down the complicated problem to something simple. So apply first principles here, break down the whole thing into its constituent problems, like as tiny as possible. Uh, like in my case, if I didn't have the resources to build Delight Chat, if I was just like one person or two people and I just did not have more than 4 weeks of time, I would have literally built a Chrome extension that works on top of Gmail or something. But since we had the resources, we took 3 months and a team of like several people to build the product. So be as resourceful as you need to be given your resources. Like, cut it down into its constituents. Like, imagine if you took a Lego tower, that's how your actual product is, a Lego tower. Break it up into pieces, and you have to have the skill to be able to identify the Lego blocks, break it up into pieces and find the smallest one which you can give customers. And if you give them, they're going to be able to derive value out of it. That's your MVP. Someone doesn't know how to code, should he focus on content creation and media side? If you want to learn how to code, you should learn how to code. Coding is brilliant. It gives you, so coding or creating content, both. Empty canvas, nothing. Then somebody wrote code, it became Zoom, and now we are here. I'm creating content on top of Zoom, so we are talking to each other. So content creation and code creation both go hand in hand. These are the two, the best kind of resources you can create on the internet, because both of them work 24/7. Both of them are permissionless. You don't need to ask someone's permission to run or read a blog post, and they work while you sleep. So if you don't know how to code but you want to learn. If you want to focus on content creation, do that. Pick either. Either side is fine. Which metric should you focus on to maximize retention for a business? Metrics, look at usage and happiness. Happiness is NPS, and usage is how often are they using the product and how much are they using it. Can you explain more on the communities? I think it's a little vague question, so I'm going to leave this for now. Thanks for the talk. Any books or resources you recommend for founders? Read the Mom Test. That's the best book I tell everyone to read. Read uh, Atomic Habits. It teaches you the power of starting small. Mom's Test teaches you how to actually detect bullshit when you're trying to validate an idea, so that you make sure you actually build something people want. And resources. The third book would be uh, Mark Manson's book, which helps you live a more drama-free life. Because if your life is full of drama, you don't have time to actually solve problems that people are facing. As you mentioned, to start small, how to ensure my idea of content will stand out. We can never. You keep creating content. People are not going to find you if you just do it once. And if you have this idea, so if you are feeling like you will not stand out, the next first question you should be is, have you written something yet? And if you haven't, then go back to step one. First, create content, then think about standing out once you've created enough content. Success of micro-SaaS seems to be a function of sales marketing. How to circumvent that? Does one just have to get? You have to know how to do sales or marketing, whichever is the way you reach customers. But marketing is not what you quote unquote think of marketing. Marketing doesn't mean you have to write a piece of content like in Super Lemon. We didn't write a single blog post. We figured out what people are searching for in the Shopify app store, and we named our app in our description, and we got people to write reviews if they were really happy with our app, which gave us a boost in ranking. And that was marketing. Marketing was picking the right name. Marketing was picking a bright logo that stood out in a results page. Marketing was writing a description that people liked. Marketing was finding the right price that people were going to pay, which led to like high conversion from landing page. Marketing was being really great with customers so that they ended up writing really good reviews, which again boosted our ranking. So no matter what you do, marketing, not just micro-SaaS, anything you do, if you want people to know about it, that's marketing basically. Any suggestion to students who are interested in multiple interest areas like art, IT, and linguistics? Pick one of them and go deep into it, and do the other ones like uh, more like so it's T-shaped thing. You want to go deep in something and you want to parallelly explore things. And if you don't feel like this is your thing, switch to the next one. You can't possibly do three things at the same time. Best micro-SaaS companies you find inspiration from. There's too many. I have actually should actually write a post about which ones. I really like how Canny is building a business. I really like how Banner Bear is building a business. Banner Bear especially, because that dude breaks all the barriers. Like, I know people who are past 30 who are like, I can't build a business. I'm like past 30 or something. He's turning 40. He looks younger than most of us. Most of us who are 30 or whatever. I'm not 30, but he looks younger than most of us, and he's built a successful business. He's been like doing all the things that people at his age will be like freaked and scared of trying, like scary things. So I would say his company, big inspiration, or him rather, is big inspiration. Canny, Sarah Hum, big inspiration of the way she's building a calm company. Lunch Money, Lunch Bag, that's a one-person company, which is again, like, she's doing it all by herself. Jen, I really like her hustle, and really like how thoughtfully she does everything she does. You should check out her website. What is something you should? What is something that would surprise you about starting a business? Or something you should educate yourself on, which you didn't encounter on? Mm, Everything was surprising. The only thing you should educate yourself on is, who am I solving a problem for? What is the problem I'm solving for them? Is it a real problem? And how do I reach these people who face this problem? There's no videos on the internet that's going to educate you on this, except trying to find the answer to these problems. That's the only way you can educate yourself. That's how you also end up in those YouTube videos, and you just try to tell other people that don't watch these videos, just go do this. But then they watch more YouTube videos. So don't watch more YouTube videos. Try to find out who your customers are, what problem you're trying to solve for them, how important is that problem, and how do you find more people who have this problem? How can we find like-minded people? Talk about the things that interest you, your values. and people with similar values will resonate with you, because they're also looking for the same kind of people. They're looking for people, like, think about it, another you. I'm looking for like-minded people. The other you is like, where are the other people like me, like-minded? So the only way is one of you start creating content or putting something out there on the internet, which will give them a signal that, hey, here's another person who's like me, or who's like has my kind of mindset. I should connect with them. So create content if you can't find them. So right time to focus on a startup. Whenever you want, you can do it right now. Like I said, replace job with first year classes. You can do it on the side. Take 2 hours every day, and I know, don't watch Netflix. You're not missing much anyway. Don't watch Netflix for like 2 days of the week and just work on the startup that you want to do. I work for, you have to make sacrifices there. Everything won't happen. I work for logistics and shipping company. I'm passionate about one idea which solves. Can you reach out? No. You should ask your question here actually. Kormangla, what's the best way to find your interest, passion, in any niche? How do you find the perfect niche for you? There's no perfect niche. Is there an example you would like to recommend for us to check? Building small. Lunch Money is an amazing example that I just mentioned. Another app is Up 40 by Mike. Mike, forgot his last name. Up 40 is a canny like software, simple product board for people getting your users to give feedback on your product, or upvote for bugs or features. Makes $10,000 a month, runs a podcast, lives a great life. Check out his business. What first step? So, covered that. Programming language is most important for CS students. Whichever programming language you're most adept with, doesn't matter. Become a JavaScript expert, you can build full stack apps. Become a Ruby on Rails expert. Shopify is built on Ruby on Rails. Actually, Stripe is also built on Ruby on Rails. You can do PHP, there's Laravel. You can do Python, there's Django. Django is like second most used after Ruby on Rails. So doesn't matter. Pick one which is like you feel most comfortable with. Communication skills and convincing people. Not really. Like, that's a very different question, so I wouldn't get into it right now. Cool. I think that's the end of it. All right, that was a lot of questions. I hope I managed to answer them well. And if there's anything else before we close, definitely drop the question here. I'll take it up. Otherwise, I think we're done. Thank you so much for watching.
Animesh, are you still there?
I'm here. Wait. Yeah. I can't switch on my video with this. Wait. Yeah. I, on behalf of Selbits Goa and the entire coalition's organizing team, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to Preetam for gracing us with your presence and sharing with us your thoughts and opinions today. It was a pleasure having you with us. Thank you for the wonderful session.
That was like a pre-scripted, like very high-end, like who wrote that piece? Thank you so
Wait,
much for inviting me.
I think
I
this.
just got reminded of college fest right now while listening to that. But thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really honored that I was given this opportunity. I hope I was able to change someone's life today for the better. And if you have any more questions, you can always drop it on Twitter, and I'm happy to answer.
Thanks for coming, Preetam. Appreciate it. Looking forward for more events with you.
Thanks so much. Have a great evening, everyone.